Her smile was flawless, her posture perfect, her contract ironclad, until the day it wasn't. Cate Blanchett, the woman Chanel described as gravity in silk, woke up one morning to an empty calendar invite where a film shoot used to be. No warning, no apology, just a polite two-word note: creative realignment. 24 hours later, Blake Lively's face lit up the exact same campaign Cate had built from the ground up. Fashion editors pretended it was business as usual. Industry veterans felt the floor drop an inch. Cate simply straightened her jacket, the kind of quiet that makes people lean in. For 12 gilded years, she'd been Chanel's silent metronome. Private fittings in Rue Cambon, couture shows where even the cameras softened. In 2021, the house doubled down, commissioning a short film written by Cate's husband, playwright Andrew Upton. Black and white, 2 women, no dialogue. A single orb of light shifting between them. It was meant to launch a capsule called Women in Cinema, a love letter to stories told without shouting. Cate's signature, Andrew's script, Chanel's money, an elegant trifecta. Then the whisper started. Blake's back. Blake Lively, America's glossy sweetheart once photographed by Karl Lagerfeld himself, had returned with a pitch so shiny it bent boardroom lights. A cross-platform deal merging Chanel, Netflix, and her newborn wellness empire. It promised Gen Z reach, built-in hashtags, and a 7-figure ad spend Blake's team would partly bankroll. Bean counters blinked, creatives sighed, and somewhere in that collision the Blanchett film evaporated like perfume in winter air. Cate learned the news from her publicist's frantic midnight voicemail. When she returned the call, her voice was calm enough to chill tea. "Send me the official notice," she said, "and send it before sunrise." At 5 a.m., an email arrived with those 2 cold words and a promise of future opportunities. Future. As though her present were disposable. Blake's ascension began with a chateau dinner 2 weeks later. Mahogany tables, candelabras, guest list trimmed to 50 legacy voices. Cate's name remained on the seating chart. Chanel believed in optics. She arrived in black crepe, hair tucked behind one ear, silent as snowfall. Sources at the event say the temperature shifted by degrees when Blake breezed in wearing pastel tulle and a grin that could power Paris. Midway through entree, Blake was overheard telling a senior creative, loud enough for 2 tables to catch, "The original script was gorgeous, just dated, you know? Legacy doesn't really stream." Laughter flickered. Cate, sipping water, set the glass down and never touched it again. She didn't protest, didn't storm. Instead, she resurfaced in Berlin a month later, accepting a humble humanitarian award. It was the sort of ceremony journalists file under nice to mention, but one off-script sentence detonated online. There's a difference between honoring the story and owning it like it was always yours. No name, no brand, yet everyone felt the arrow land. Within hours, the clip racked up millions, morphing into TikTok soundbeds stitched over shots of Chanel runways and screen grabs of Blake's new ad teaser. #HonorZone kept trending long after midnight. The internet loves breadcrumbs, and fate served a loaf. A British fashion magazine accidentally published a pre-scheduled feature still praising Cate's upcoming film, complete with quotes from Andrew and behind-the-scenes photos. It stayed live 3 hours, long enough for screenshots to fossilize across Reddit. Users stitched timelines. March 2022, Cate confirmed. January 2023, film funded. February, silence. April, Blake everywhere. One post summed it up in a sentence. "You didn't refresh the vision, you hijacked it mid-sentence." In June, the story jumped from screens to stage. Without warning or press junket, Cate directed a 2-hander at the Sydney Theatre Company, written by Andrew in 4 sleepless weeks. Its working title, Lines That Weren't Meant to Be Read, changed after previews to the whisper-sharp stage whispers. Plot: an older creator whose narrative is overshadowed by a younger interloper claiming authorship. On opening night, a 30-second bootleg hit social media. Cate facing the younger actress, voice razor cool. "The worst part isn't that you took it," she says. "It's that you convinced them it was always yours. And now when they applaud, I clap too, because I don't recognize what they're praising." The audience on the footage is stone silent until the line ends. Then a single gasp breaks through like glass. Back in Paris, Blake's glimmer began to flicker. A Vogue cover celebrating her power pivot was quietly pulled 48 hours pre-launch. No replacement, no explanation, only rumors about narrative volatility. In leaked Discord chats, Blake's PR floated a phrase they hoped might salvage image: creative reclamation. TikTok turned it into a heist movie meme. Every time Cate's old Chanel footage replayed, the meme's soundtrack cut in. Dramatic strings, neon text flashing, creative reclamation, starring whoever got there second. September's internal Chanel summit told the real story. In 2022, Blake co-chaired a breakout session on millennial engagement. In 2023, her name was absent, even from the courtesy list. Cate flew in unannounced as creative advisor, walked through the private salon doors, and the room reputedly fell silent until she chose a seat. No applause, none needed. Influence doesn't always enter with trumpets. Sometimes it drifts under the threshold and rearranges gravity. October saw Chanel release a glossy montage titled "Timeless Voices," honoring heritage collaborators who shaped the house. Penelope Cruz shimmered. Tilda Swinton smirked, Kristen Stewart smoldered, and Cate's smile anchored the reel. Blake's footage? Surgically excluded. Viewers freeze-framed until they admitted not a single pastel pixel remained. Marketing budgets, however, obey calendar deadlines. December's holiday short, 60 seconds of snowflake glitter, ended on Blake whispering, "Some stories were never told until now." Sharp-eyed Redditors yanked receipts. That line appeared verbatim in Andrew Upton's shelved screenplay. Accusations of plagiarism exploded. Chanel's social team switched comments to approval only. During the campaign's glittering launch party, paparazzi lenses hunted for drama. Blake posed beneath chandeliers while Cate slipped out a side door, coat collar flipped against the chill. A fan video captured her passing under a street lamp. No entourage, no tears, just a breath curling in winter air. The caption read, "Queens don't storm out, they sail." The clip outperformed every official ad Blake's team posted that week. Instead of firing back, Cate fulfilled a prior commitment the next morning, a modest photo shoot for an environmental charity. Staff expected wounded royalty. They got herbal tea warmth and a handwritten note thanking the interns. A nervous 19-year-old assistant offered her coffee and gushed, "You were incredible in tar, Ms. Blanchett." Cate replied, "Call me Cate, please, and thanks for keeping the world spinning." Within hours, the charity's behind-the-scenes reel eclipsed Chanel's paid ads on engagement metrics. Grace, it turns out, out-carries glitter. While fashion feeds buzzed, boardrooms did math. Sentiment graphs showed Blake's favorability sliding, Cate's soaring. Legacy, it seemed, had algorithms too. Chanel reinstated creative ownership clauses for veteran collaborators, an insurance policy against future glossy coups. Spring brought a Film Festival Lifetime Achievement Award for Cate in a Baroque European theater. Rumor whispered that Blake slipped into the balcony unannounced. No entourage, just hands folded in respect. On stage, Cate's gown, a custom piece by a young couturier who grew up watching Elizabeth, glimmered like still water. "In an industry addicted to firsts," she told the hushed room, "longevity feels revolutionary. There's space for discovery, and there's space for heritage. One does not dim the other. Together, they redefine power." She paused, eyes scanning until they briefly found Blake, and offered the slightest gracious nod. Applause thundered, but between those two women the exchange felt like a piano chord, minor, mysterious, perfectly resolved. Backstage afterwards, Cate lingered alone, trophy heavy in one hand, as stagehands clattered equipment into vans. She inhaled, eyes closed, a breath that tasted of dust and victory. Outside, cameras waited, hungry for confrontation she had no interest in feeding. Legacy doesn't sprint to the microphone. It lets the noise tire itself out. And Blake? Friends say she's recalibrating. Still a radiant star, but suddenly acutely aware of the thin ice beneath quick influence. When her Chanel contract quietly concludes, industry insiders expect she'll pivot again. Maybe indie film, maybe streaming production, because reinvention is her true perfume. Yet even Blake's fiercest fans concede. The campaign that was supposed to crown a new era ended up confirming the old rule: hype sells handbags, but heritage sells a heartbeat. So the next time an ad blitz blinds you with flawless faces and algorithm-polished slogans, pause. Ask which stories were erased to make the sparkle feel new. Because some tales refuse to stay buried under glitter. They linger in the quiet, in the lines redacted from press releases, in the calm of a woman who decides silence is the loudest statement in the room. Cate Blanchett never raised her voice. She didn't need to. Authentic power doesn't demand spotlight. It is the spotlight, glowing long after the cameras power down and the runway lights fade. We've now seen how Blake Lively has inserted herself through incessant ambition time and time again in just the last couple of years. Perhaps she has learned that thriving through chaos doesn't always have a lasting shelf life. The lesson Chanel learned: one brand, one campaign, one near-miss legacy at a time, is etched now in boardroom whiteboards around the globe. If you trade elegance for algorithms, be prepared for elegance to write its own ending and steal back every frame you thought you owned. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. We hope to see you again soon.